Alright, hello. Sorry to cancel class today, and I'm also sorry for not having a substitute, but I just felt like what I wanted to do today, I just needed to talk to you about a couple things with paper 1 and with paper 2, and I felt that I needed to do this and no one else could really do it. So hopefully this video will work. If not, I'll send you an email. I'll probably do both and everything will work out. The first thing I want to talk to you is references with paper 1. They were awful. No one's reference page did anything. It didn't look anything like the one I gave you. So I planned in class today to do an exercise looking at references. So I'm actually going to have you do that for homework. And especially pay attention to spacing. Pay attention to page breaks. Pay attention to if last name is used or not. Pay attention to periods. No one's looked anything like the one I gave you, except the person that just turned in the one I gave. But obviously, that wasn't the point. So you all need to work on references. I was very surprised that if I gave you the exact format that the ones you gave me didn't look anything like it. So be careful for that. Go through the homework that I published and bring any questions you have to me via email or to class on Wednesday. The second thing with paper 1 that was interesting and surprising was that almost half the class made this really interesting, bizarre argument. First you talked about one of your arguments was usually that this is unfair, that legalizing these drugs would be unfair because they're so good that people are going to use them and they're not going to have to study, and that's unfair to the people that can't afford it or that don't want to use them. Then you get to the counter argument, and your rebuttal for some counter argument that was like something about, well, people say they should be legalized because they work so well. Well, you said something like, well, they actually don't work very well, so we shouldn't legalize them. That undermines your original argument. If they don't work, then we don't have a fairness issue. So I wanted to mention this because I wrote this on many of your papers, and it's a problem. Your paper is a whole paper. It's supposed to make one continuous argument, and there's different parts of it, but all together you're supposed to be making an argument that's interesting and that's coherent. And when your rebuttal completely destroys your first point, that's a problem. So think about making a continuous argument. Think about making all the parts fit together to make one strong argument. They shouldn't be legalized, or they should be legalized. The other thing that was a little bit concerning about the papers was a lot of people made very hypothetical arguments. Well, if they are legalized, then potentially underage students would use them and that would be bad. Well, that's an interesting argument, but you need to root your argument in the data that we gave you. This paper 1 is an exercise in using imperfect data, right? The data is imperfect, the studies are imperfect, but you need to take what you have and use it. Now, I'm not saying you can't make that argument or you can't make hypothetical arguments, but if you do, make sure that you understand that you really need to explain your argument well, very well, because there's not good evidence that underage people are going to use it. Last thing with paper 1, and you should have read about this in the craft of research, is just quoting someone saying what you're saying is not evidence. So if you say, well, underage students are going to start using these, Dr. Farah said underage students are going to use these, therefore, argument done. You can't do that. You can do that. It's an option when there's not another good option, but it's not perfect. And you need to understand just quoting someone saying your opinion is not evidence. That's 2 claims. 2 claims is stronger than 1 claim, but it's still not evidence. So look through the articles, find evidence about the arguments you're making. On page 29 in the course packet, there's information about giving a topic sentence, kind of giving your claim, giving evidence, and then interpreting that evidence. You really need to make sure that you don't just give a citation and assume that's evidence and you're done. You need to interpret, analyze, explain the citation that you give. It's not enough just to state your claim, state some evidence, and then end the paragraph. You need to end each paragraph by explaining literally how that quotation, how that fact fits with your argument. It may seem obvious to you, but it isn't always obvious. All right, I'm going to end this video. Hopefully this will work, and then I will start another one talking about researching for paper 2.